Walks onto stage. Good whatever, lady and gentlemen. Sommersby is based on a French film starring Gerard Depardieu, The Return of Martin Guerre, which is a tale of an impostor who assumes the life of another man following a war. Sommersby is a very different story, peppered with modern post-American Civil War politics, whilst focusing on the romance between a man and his wife. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Spoilers. Ahead. Smirks. In order to make the review more palatable, references to racial politics are ignored. Jack Sommersby was a cotton farmer from Vine Hill, Tennessee. Tennessee supported the Confederacy, making Jack Sommersby a Confederate soldier. Jack Sommersby was thought dead by his wife, Laurel, and his son and heir. Since the Civil War had taken most of the male population, and the war had ended 2 years ago, Orrin, a good neighbor and a religious man, had taken it upon himself to romance the widow Sommersby, Laurel. Looks left. It is never mentioned whether or not Orrin was in the war or not. Looks right. Only that he was a neighbor and seeking to marry Mrs. Sommersby. Pauses. A bearded, gaunt Jack Sommersby shows up in town 2 years after the Civil War ended, claiming to have been held by the Union Army as a prisoner of war. The American Civil War was in 1861 to 1865. For the United Kingdom this was the middle of the Victorian Age, well before war had been civilized. Many prisoners of war were mistreated, and many died. No letters home, no food parcels, no human rights. The Red Cross was being formed, as was the Geneva Convention. War was personality changing. Pauses. Sommersby is told as an impostor story. However, there is enough doubt in its telling to suggest that Jack Sommersby had simply become a better human being. For me, it is a Christian story of rebirth and redemption, with Jack Sommersby sacrificing himself for his sins and the sins of his people. As a soldier, Jack would have learned to place himself in harm's way for the mission. Pauses. Equally, Horace Townsend, an English teacher and con artist from Virginia, may have changed and decided to redeem himself by assuming the life of his brother in arms. Rolls eyes. Which do you prefer? Pauses. The story outline is of a love triangle with a redemption arc. Jack Sommersby wins Laurel's love and the love of his son with his behavior. Orrin covets his neighbor's wife. Jack comes up with a plan to grow tobacco and share his land in exchange for labor. This would help rebuild Vine Hill and give the community a new start. Orrin helps to save the tobacco crop using soapy water, though he takes the time to discredit Jack. Jack does not mind. He is a new man. Smirks. Literally. Pauses. Laurel and Jack seal their love with a baby, giving Jack something to live for. That and the love of a good wife would surely fasten any man, you would have thought. When Laurel threatens Jack with a gun, Jack is not fazed. May God strike me down if I am not your husband. On to the quotes. You are not Jack Sommersby, so why do you keep going on pretending that you are? How do you know I'm not? I know because. How do you know? I know because. How do you know? I know because I never loved him the way that I love you. Now Laurel, tell me, from the bottom of your heart, am I your husband? Yes, you are. Pauses. If Jack was Crichton from Red Dwarf, Spearhead 1, 2 and 3 would have blown, and you would have to communicate with Jack using an emergency keypad. Rolls eyes. People change. War changes people. 6 years is a long time, and there were no photographs of Jack Sommersby. The only physical evidence that Jack Sommersby was an impostor was his shoe size, and there was no reference to how large Jack Sommersby was before the war. Weight loss reduces foot size. Pauses. You'd rather die? I would rather be home. If you know some way for Jack Sommersby to walk out of here, I'll do it. Rolls eyes. Jack Sommersby had already discredited one set of witnesses. Surely Jack could have claimed self-defense. Pauses. Don't shoot Sommersby. But he shot him like a dog, and he run off. Rolls eyes. That man is a liar. The man had a gun, as did they. I shot him as he drew, then escaped. I did not know he had died. It was self-defense. Peace, I am out of here, word up. Exits stage left. Pauses. With Jodie Foster.